Hey everyone, Spider-Man 991 here, and this is another video in my list of comic book recommendations based on movies coming out. This video, I'm obviously going to be talking about the Gambit movie coming out in approximately 1 year from the date this video is uploaded. This movie is something that I'm not too sure about. For one thing, the casting of Channing Tatum as Gambit, I just think that he is not really. I mean, I just couldn't really. If he was going to be cast as an X-Man, I would see him more as Colossus than Gambit, obviously. Also, prior to the movie hasn't. Also, the movie just lost its director, Rupert Wyatt. So yeah. Hopefully by the time this video is uploaded, they actually start filming, and a year from now, we'll actually have the Gambit movie. Okay. Let's get started with some recommendations. The first collection I'm going to be talking about is the 2-volume Gambit Classic series. Now, Volume 1 collects Gambit's first appearance in Uncanny X-Men, where he helps a de-aged Storm escape from the Shadow King and then from the evil cyborg known as Nanny. Also collected in Volume 1 is the first Gambit solo series, where Gambit and Rogue go to New Orleans to deal with a battle between the Thieves Guild and the Assassins Guild, and to investigate the mysterious reappearance / resurrection of Gambit's formerly dead ex-wife Belladonna. And also Volume 2 collects the Rogue miniseries, where Gambit had a very large supporting role in it because it really, which I don't understand why they called it Rogue. It could have just been called Rogue and Gambit, because what happens is Rogue goes to visit the first boy she ever kissed, Cody, who's been in a coma ever since they were 13, and Rogue finds out that he's been kidnapped by Belladonna for revenge over what happened in the first Gambit solo series. Also, Volume 2 has the second Gambit solo series, where Gambit is by himself, and he has to deal with a fallen angel after he steals a religious artifact. Okay, the only thing that I found necessary that if you're going to be reading these things only for the upcoming Gambit movie, you really just need to read the first Gambit's solo series in Volume 1. And by the way, his first appearance in Uncanny X-Men, the only X-Men in there are him and Storm, although he's not officially an X-Men yet. I think Volume 1 would be a lot better if they included the actual issue, or at least the scene where Gambit officially joins the X-Men. And also, I think it would have been better. The first solo miniseries does reference the issue in X-Men where Belladonna dies, and I think they should have included that as well in this collection, but they didn't. So I honestly would have a much stronger recommendation for Volume 1 if they included those things, but they didn't. So all I can say is the only thing worthwhile reading out of this entire collection is the first Gambit solo series, but fortunately, you can find that on Comixology for, I want to say, about $2 an issue. It's only 4 issues, so the whole thing is like $8, which, interesting enough, I actually bought both of these volumes on Amazon from third-party sellers for about $8 each. So yeah. And Volume 2, only reason you get this is just if you want more Gambit. And the Rogue and Gambit series, it really isn't necessary, since they did make it clear Rogue isn't going to be in the Gambit movie. So that's kind of a shame, because one of the more entertaining things about Gambit is his relationship with Rogue, which a lot of fans of the X-Men 90s cartoon series should know that was definitely a recurring thing. The next set of recommendations is Gambit's Marvel Now title, collected in 3 trade paperback volumes. Writer James Asmus starts the series off with Gambit going on a heist after he feels a bit overwhelmed with his work at the Jean Grey School. However, this one simple theft eventually turns to a huge globe-trotting adventure that leads Gambit to a temple in Guatemala, stealing Excalibur from the Queen of England, fighting the metahuman gangster known as Tombstone, and finally entering a competition to become the leader of the entire Thieves Guild. Not just the Thieves Guild New Orleans, but the entire global Thieves Guild. And I have to say, as James Asmus does a good job with this series, his main theme is that I felt that the series establishes is that despite all the labels Gambit has, X-Man, Hero, Mutant, he will always, at his core, he will always be a thief. And and also the way the series is able to turn one simple job into a large-scale adventure is most likely direction for the movie. I mean, even before I started reading the Gambit comics, I kind of knew that since Gambit is a thief, that they were most likely going to have set him up in some simple job that eventually leads to something bigger, and that will be the main plot of the movie, and that's where things are going to go for him. Also, this series has a lot of notable guest stars from other notable Marvel characters, and despite all of that, it's still pretty self-contained. I mean, you really don't. I mean, going into this, all you really need to know is just, Gambit is one of the mutants that went on Wolverine's team during the whole X-Men Schism event, and he was at the Jean Grey School. That's really all you need to know prior to going into this. It really is very self-contained. A few references here and there to some other stuff going along in the Marvel U, but despite that, it's still focused on Gambit, which is nice. And unfortunately, though, the series was canceled at issue 17. But fortunately, some of the things that were left when the series ended were picked up upon in Peter David's all-new X Factor, which Gambit became a member of when Peter David launched that title, which by the way is awesome, and you should be recommending it, and you should be reading it, not just because of Gambit. It's a really awesome series. They should check that. I enjoyed the series a lot. It was definitely a great Gambit series. I think that if you're wondering which Gambit series would most likely, if you're looking for a Gambit series that will most likely be familiar to the movie, I think it will be this or the first Gambit solo series that I mentioned. It most likely will be a combination of two, because I remember they did state that this might be an origin story, so it might involve Gambit's background in the New Orleans Thieves Guild, and finally Gambit going on a simple job for them, and then suddenly this huge global adventure for him. Okay, and that's my list of recommendations for the Gambit movie. Gotta admit, that was definitely one of my shorter videos. How do I really feel about the Gambit movie? Well, I gotta be honest. For 2016, there are at least 3 other movies that I did 3 other videos for movies coming out in 2016, and I have to say though that despite everything, that even if not all the bad stuff going on with Gambit, the Gambit movie, this would still be low on my list of must-sees, because believe me, Gambit is going to have a lot of tough competition. With Batman v Superman, Civil War, and also Suicide Squad coming before it. So, alright, well, thank you again for watching. If you think I missed any good Gambit stories, please feel free to comment below about any other good Gambit stories that you might think of that I missed. What you guys think of the Gambit movie coming out? Let me know. How are you enjoying these videos? I kind of like doing this, coming out with recommendations for movies at least a year in advance. If you guys want to see me do more, let me know if you like them. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all your support. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.